Hi, we're back, and I have two lovely ladies who are going to give us some information about a very interesting place called the Book Barn. Hi.
Hi,
Glad to meet you, Cora and Chris. It's so nice to have you come and tell us about something about the Book Barn, because I don't think a lot of people know about that.
Okay, well, in Fresno, in Clovis, actually, is the Book Barn, a used bookstore, but they have new books as well. They also have books from all the authors in the Valley, not all of them, but many authors in the Valley. And we're going to have a writer event on Saturday for anyone who's interested in writing or is a writer. We're going to give information on promotion and writing, and we will have a panel of romance writers to dispel some of the myths and give some information about romance writing.
That's fantastic. And how did you get started with something like this? I mean, were you writing when you were young or what?
Well, I had an incident, a deja vu incident years ago that started me writing. Eventually, recently, I had joined Romance Writers of America, which our local chapter is the Yosemite Romance Writers. And from there, I started a romance, which is the book I'm featuring today, Haiku Dance. And it came out of the past life of the first novels, one of the characters. Very complicated.
These novels were things that you had written or read?
No, this Haiku Dance is really, it's set in Heian, Japan, which is 980 AD, in a very special epoch in history called the Heian era. If you know the tales of Genji, that's when they were written.
Yes, I have that book.
Oh, yes.
And that's so amazing that was so long ago that she'd be the first one to write a novel. That's amazing.
First woman.
First woman to write a novel?
Yes. So that kind of inspired me. I thought, I want to set my novel there in that era.
That's fantastic. And this book that we're talking about today is something you have written, right?
Yes.
Good. I want to hear more about it. And if you see anything that comes up, please send in to us. We want to go through that too. And Chris, how did you get interested in writing?
Well, I'm kind of a latecomer to writing. I had a pretty deep academic career in the university, and I all of a sudden started to write a novel. And I love romance writing, romance books. I didn't really discover them until I was pretty close to retirement. I always read pretty much the classics, or I was reading something for my career. But then when I got into romance novels, I was really intrigued by the depth of some of the stories, and I thought, well, I could do this. So I started my own series. It's called the Canyon series, and it's based on some things that when I was growing up in Arizona on a gold mine, and so I took those adventures that we had and turned them into a romance novel with supernatural and paranormal elements.
Wow.
So I'm so excited. The first book is out. It's Bloodstones, the Haunting of Sunset Canyon.
Wow, it's a nice name too. It catches you right away. Oh yeah. I'm interested in that because my husband is a gold miner. Most all of his life he's had a partner, and they'd go out and they have their own claim. So
that's how we grew up. We grew up on gold mine, no running water, electricity. Went to one municipal house years ago, and we barely made enough to live on, but we always kept gas in the Jeep and some food on the table, and that's how we lived in Arizona. And so I borrowed on that as Cora borrowed on her stories of some of her deja vu experiences about past lives. I'm writing about the haunting of a canyon in Arizona.
Oh wow, that's exciting. Well, when I did my books, I had an awful lot of things to look up and to research and everything.
Yes.
But it was interesting because I read historical novels all my life. I just one after the other, and eating lunch or whatever I'm doing, I was reading historical novels. And it got to the point that I realized that they were all the same story. boy meets girl,
Sure.
boy loses girl, boy gets girl back, and I thought, gee, when I write it, I want to try to make it a little different, make other challenges for each one of my characters has a challenge,
Right.
you know, and it's not. Of course, they meet and they love, and yes, romance too,
Right.
but it's not the same theme that you read. The whole book is, the whole book is just covering that one little story.
Yeah, I
Right.
think it's important to have another subplot these days. At least it is for me. I'm coming from the mystery and suspense background with Sisters in Crime, an organization, international. And so I wanted to squeeze in a subplot of suspense. So
Oh.
that's in there as well.
That's fantastic.
I'd be bored if it was just a love story.
I know. Well, because it is
But
just
it's important.
repetitive, but
Yeah.
we all go through it.
Well,
thank goodness.
there definitely is a formula with a romance novel, and both of us are sort of out of that box with what we write, but we still think of it as either a suspenseful romance or a supernatural romance, because romance is a very big part of it. But we were talking the other day, and almost every story has got romance in it, whether or not it's the main part of the story, the main reason for the story or not. Your romance really is part of almost every story. So what we do, what romance writers do, is it usually is more the center, with always the happily ever after. So you have to have
yes.
the HE, the happily ever after.
You have to do
Otherwise,
that.
it's not a romance.
Yeah, you have to do that.
Right.
Well, my own story was interesting because I met a little boy when I was 8 years old. I was staying with his parents while my mother did something, I don't know what. And in high school, we went to the prom together and everything. And then both of us went in the Air Force. And he went to Germany, and he fell in love with the German lady and married her. And they had 3 wonderful children. Guess what? I happened to be invited to a school affair, and I looked through the list of people there, and I found his name.
Oh my gosh.
And I gave him a call, and he came down the next day to see me, and he never left me from then. And, we thought, well, we're getting married and we're 65. We don't know how long we've got, but we've been married almost 20 years now.
Oh,
that's
that's
So,
amazing.
so that's our love story.
That's a great love story.
I
Well, okay, where's my pen and pencil? I need to write this down.
Did you put anything of something that happened to you in your books?
For me, oh yeah, because so much of sort of the background of the story, the children using the sluice box to look for gold. Also, the story sort of is reminiscent or takes some of the character from the superstitious gold mine,
Oh, yeah.
the Lost Dutchman's gold mine
Oh,
in
yeah.
Arizona. So we grew up with that myth and those tales, and so that's pretty well woven in. But it's definitely a romance story with 3 different romances woven into the story.
That's fantastic. And did you have any?
Well,
part of
this second book, not so much my personal experience. My first book, probably more so, Dance the Dream Away. But it was just, I was so involved with the research. I loved doing the research for Haiku Dance. It was wonderful.
Oh,
I really
yes.
enjoy Japanese culture and the history. So
She did a wonderful job with that book, and she has haiku in it and poetry, and it's a good
my
story.
gosh.
It's a really great
I
story.
was fortunate enough to be able to go to Japan. I did a nightclub acting. Went to Japan, and the funniest thing, I went to see all the Japanese wonderful things, but the funniest thing was they had Funny Girl playing at their big theater, and I thought, well, they're going to have the
Subtitles.
subtitles in English. It was in English. Wow, it's Tokyo, and they're putting the movie on with English instead of the Japanese. I thought that was really funny.
They all want to speak English over there.
yeah.
That's for sure. Yeah, and they they put on something like Ocean's 11 or something, all in Japanese, and that is so funny. You know, and they figure out, well, you know the characters anyway, so you're okay.
You're
But
right.
tell us again about this affair so that people
Yes.
won't forget.
Go, Cora. No, this is Cora's event. She set it up for us to do a panel discussion about romance, and at the same time, we get to bring our books and sign our books. So,
And these are all
Oh,
local
book
authors.
signing too. That's
Right.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now tell us again exactly where it is and when.
It's at the Book Barn in Clovis. That's on off of Clovis Avenue. I don't know what that side street
we
is.
can
It's near
never
downtown,
Yeah,
but it's easy to see it. It's big
think
building, big barn. And everybody's welcome. Just whoever is interested in writing, or just interested in romance, or just interested in listening about writing and books.
Well, sure,
So-
and I know that you do want to do things to get younger people writing. Right?
Yes, I will be president of Sisters in Crime, our local organization, this next year, and I want to really try to encourage the young people in the area to come out, learn about writing. We will have more events, hopefully, in the future to encourage that among the young people and anybody else who's been sitting on the shelf about writing and
When
just
they
wants
have a
to-
book or a manuscript
Yeah.
there in their drawer,
idea
pull
in
it
their
out
head, and they say,
we'll-
"Oh, I can't
yeah.
do that," but they can.
Of
Exactly.
course,
very
they,
easy.
Of course, they can. I've just got to do it.
Exactly.
Exactly.
You can't keep talking about it.
That's right.
Anyway, and we know now it's at the Boot Barn, and what's the time?
2 to 5
2 to 5.
on Saturday,
Okay.
the
Yeah,
17th.
Saturday the 17th
This
at the
Saturday.
Boot Barn,
Book Barn.
Book Barn.
It used to be the Boot Barn, I think.
Oh, was it?
I think it was, or something
What
like
is
that.
it now?
The
Book
book.
Barn.
Actually, if they
I
Google it,
don't know
it's-
the difference between boots and books. And it's a book barn.
a book
Saturday
barn.
the 17th from 2 to 5.
5 in the
Okay,
afternoon.
and if you
Right.
forget that, give us a call and we'll
We'll
make
have
sure.
cookies if you want to
Yeah,
come.
cookies.
Cookies.
Cookies and
Okay.
advice.
Cookies and
okay.
advice. There you go.
I'm going to try to make it because
I
I'm
hope
excited
you
about
come.
your
It'd
books.
be so fun to
Be
see you
fun.
there.
Yeah,
Yes,
okay. Well, thanks so much
Thank
for coming
you.
in.
Thanks a
And
lot.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Chris,
Carol.
too.
Thank you so much,
And,
Mr.
yeah,
White.
if anything other, another event comes up, please feel free to come back.
Absolutely,
Okay.
we will. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Okay, thank you so much. We'll be right back.